Good morning and welcome to Facebook Live. I'm Nick Gray. It's 7:45 and I'm the Ipswich Business Coach, and this morning we're going to be looking at how to increase the sales in your business. How do you get more sales in your business, especially in these times, but at any time. Sales and converting more of your leads into business. So before we get started, let's just have a shout out to anybody who's watching, out to everybody who's watching out there. I'd love to know where you're listening from, and please give us a love heart if this is something new that you're listening to for the first time today, and give me a thumbs up if you're coming back. Love to see who's coming back and who's new. So morning, and the idea of these sessions, we do them on a Monday, Wednesday and a Friday morning, is to get your day started in the best possible way. Sometimes we talk about business, sometimes we talk about mindset, but everything is focused on getting you and your business through this crisis right now and really thriving out the other side. So let's get on to it, and just exactly what are we going to be talking about today. So behind me here you can see the 5 ways formula, and this is the formula to really boost your business, to maximize your business and grow your profits significantly. We've talked about leads last week and how you get more leads. Probably one of the easiest ways to grow your business is to increase your conversion rate. Now, as I mentioned before, the areas in red there are the areas that most people focus on: customers, revenue, and profit. But to get your business growing and more profits, you can't actually do anything about those. What you can do is you can influence them. So you can get more leads and you can convert more of those to get more customers. So that's what we're going to look at today. We've looked at leads. We're going to convert more of those into customers. So just how do we do that? And what's the big indicator on conversion rate? Well, it's down to sales really, and how you sell. There's a lot of strategies that you can use to improve your conversion rate, but it's one of the simplest things to get a big impact in your business. So let's say your conversion rate is about 30 or 40%, and what I mean by that is that every 10 people who are interested in your product or service, you're converting 3 or 4 of those into customers. So that's a conversion rate of about 30 or 40%. And a lot of people will say, well, my conversion rate is about 70 or 80. Are you measuring it? The first step to improve your conversion rate is measure it. Like anything, focus on something and it will naturally get better because it gets your attention. But when you start measuring it, you'll know exactly where you are. We'll come on to that in a bit, in a moment. But first of all, let's measure our conversion rate and know just exactly what it is. If your conversion rate is 20 or 30%, 30 or 40%, if you double that, you've doubled your profits. You've more than doubled your profits, because it's all basically profit. Certainly if you've got a good customer base already. So how do we do that? Well, right now things are different in this current climate, if you like, with the COVID crisis. Things are different, so we've got to show empathy more than usual. We've really got to be understanding our prospects and know more about them, especially if you're selling a high ticket item. Know more about them, dig deep and research them and find out more about them. You should be doing this anyway, but definitely right now, investigate them and do your research on them so you know just all about them. When we're talking about phone sales here now, so I would, communication, generally you can do face-to-face. Right now it's difficult to do face-to-face, but it's really important to get that connection with people. And if you can't do face-to-face, do a Zoom call if you can. Speak on the phone, much better than in text or an email. 7% of what we say is the text. And when you just send a message, you can never get that the full communication across. 38% is the tonality that we say, and 55% is the body language that we use. So if you remove any of that, then you're failing to get your message across completely, and for them to understand you and for you to understand them as well. So use your phone as much as possible, and Zoom if you can do even better. Face to face if you can do social distancing, obviously. And now with your team, if you've got salespeople making sales calls for the business, whether you're doing it or whether you've got a team doing it. We've said already, know more about your customers, get the research done, but get your focus time. And this will really improve productivity. If you get focus time and get we used to call it, when I used to in the sales team, a power hour, but turn off all your notifications and just focus on outcomes. In this hour, I want to get hold of X amount of people and I'm going to make this amount of connections. So you really get that focus. And share what's happened. If you've got a big team of salespeople, share what's been going on with you and what's worked and what's not worked. Practice, practice, practice as well. If you're in sales, the biggest thing that you can do is practice, practice, practice. Great salespeople just keep training and keep training. Sales isn't something that comes naturally to anybody. You might say some people have got more of a gift of the gab than others. A lot of it comes down to confidence, but even more comes down to practice and training. And confidence comes down to practice and training as well. Now, one of the key things is to sales is communication, and even stronger than that is questioning. So what we're effectively doing with sales is we're professionally helping people to buy. Now, a couple of things get in the way of this is because most people have a negative view of sales. When you think of salespeople, people generally think of pushy, arrogant, an old car salesman, if you like. That's not what sales is. Sales is asking great questions of people and professionally helping them to buy. So we've got to ask questions of people and we've got to listen attentively. And this is difficult for most people because often when people are talking, when we're talking, we're just waiting for them to finish so we can say what we want to say. But to really listen to it attentively and be present in the moment with that person, it takes some skill and practice. So really listen to what the person is saying. Ask them great questions. The definition of a great question is one that you don't know the answer to. If you know the answer to the question, then you're leading them. And that's okay sometimes to be leading questions. But we want to start off a conversation with an open question an open question is something that you don't know the answer to and it expands it, if you like. A closed question is one that demands a yes or no answer. So an open question could be what, or tell me more, or where, or how, or when. So open the questions up. And if you're asking questions and they're answering, you're asking questions and they're answering, you're asking questions and they're answering, at some stage along that process, they'll ask you a question. And when they ask you a question, that's a good indication that they're ready to buy. So when they're ready to buy, we want to test the water with them. Test the water or test the temperature, if you like. So a question on the lines of, how does that sound to you? Or how does that sound with what you had in mind is a good way of testing the temperature with that. Now, I mentioned that communication is a big part of sales. Now, modes of communication, it's important that we understand different modes of communication. Now, behavioural profiling is a great tool and something to help you understand others and what their styles are so that you can know how to communicate to them is a tool called DISC personality or behavioural profiling. And this helps you understand just what their profiles and what they like. Because people buy from people. And the next step is people buy from people that they like. And people buy from people like them. So if you can understand what they're like, you can be like them and make them feel a lot more comfortable and build that rapport. We're not looking to be dishonest or con anybody, but we want to communicate on their level so they feel comfortable to make a decision. And there's 4 different styles in DISC behavioural profiling. There's D for dominant, I for influence, S for stable, and C for compliance. Now, 2 of these styles, C's and D's, they're very task focused. They'll just want to know what's going on. S's and I's, they're people focused. They want to know, they very much want to understand about the person. D's and I's are outgoing, and S's and C's are introverts. So it's important that we know this and also understand who we are ourselves. If you're a high D, who's a very dominant, task-focused, outgoing person, and high Ds generally want the newest, brightest, best thing on the market. If you're like that, and you're selling to somebody who's a high S, who's very slow and stable and likes very conventional things, something similar to what they're already used to, that there's not a great deal of change, then you're going to alienate yourself. So it's important to understand who you are and who your prospects is, and so you can communicate to them on their level. It go deeper still, there's other modes of communication, like some people are visual, some people are auditory, and some people are kinesthetic. And you can understand what they are with their language. So if somebody says, that sounds really good, there'll be an auditory. If somebody says that feels kind of wrong, there'll be a kinesthetic. And if somebody says that looks really good, they're a visual. So it's important to communicate on how they're speaking as well, because that will help you build that rapport. So once we've got rapport built and we've got that communication effectively managed, we need to look at other ways that we can improve our conversion rate. So sales is what I've touched on just there, understanding who your prospect is and communicating well with them. But there's other strategies we can work on as well. So just before we get on to those, I just want to have a quick shout out to those watching. Actually, on what I'm focused on this morning, I can't see the names right now, but give me a love heart if you're watching this for the first time. Love to know who it is who's watching for the first time. And also, if you're returning, just give me a thumbs up, a like if you're returning. And please share this with people that you know. We want to get this out to as many businesses as we can. So we've touched on how you can improve your sales in questioning and understanding your prospect and their modes of communication. What other strategies can you work on? Well, just defining your sales process is a massive tool that you can do. Most people don't really understand that they've got a sales process. So where does the winning the customers, if you like? So how do you get a prospect come in? So what's the mode that they come into you, and what happens along the sales process? So the higher the price of the item that you're selling, your service or your product, the more touches that you need to have along the way. So first of all, there's a number of reasons why it's important to map out your sales process. Firstly, to understand just what it is, so you can take each chunk of that out and see how well it's performing and slide it back in again. Also, you can do something called a mystery shop. Now, this is where you check out your competitors just to see how they're performing compared to yourself. So if you understand that your touches go from the customer calls in, we take an order from them, we process the order, we call them back, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. There's a different level of contact between your customer and you, between them and the office, and you can map that out. And you can map the times, the turnaround times for each step of the way, and you can say what happens on each step of the way. So you might hand some marketing collateral out on part of the journey, if you like. Now, if you're doing a mystery shopper with your 5 best competitors, you can see just what it is that they're doing as well for their customers. And I think you'll probably be surprised the different levels of quality of service that you get from your competition. And some things will be really good and others will be terrible. You obviously want to take the best things and improve upon that for your sales process. A couple of other strategies to use on improving your conversion rate. Follow up on leads. It's incredible, especially trades that they take a quote and they don't get back to people. Follow up on your leads. Continually follow up on your leads to ask how they're getting on. And just doing that will increase your conversion rate. Testimonials and reviews. This is really important. It's not important what you say about what you do. It's important about what others say about you, what you do. It's social proof. So if anybody says anything good about you, ask them, can they do a Google review? Can you do a Facebook review? Can you do a LinkedIn recommendation? Can they do a video to go on your website? Look at reviews consistently. And finally, just test and measure. Test and measure what you're doing with if you test and measure your conversion rate, know what that is, that will start to improve it anyway, all along the way. So listen, this has been really interesting explaining the conversion rate. I'll go through the full 5 ways over the coming weeks, but this is the secrets really for your business to grow your business and come out of this crisis and thriving. So really hit me with a love heart if this is your first time watching, a like if you're returning, and please share this to other businesses that you might know. So for now, I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.